What's up guys, teamknl here, Kai, giving you this week's SMV. This week I'm going to be talking about something that I said I was going to talk about last week, but since I have nothing to talk about this week, I'm going to just talk about the top decks. Now obviously we have the Triforce, which is Dino Rabbit, Windups, and Insectors, as you can see from the picture that is currently shown, but I'm not going to be talking about those three because I'm pretty sure you guys have heard all about it, how to beat the decks, how to do all that silly stuff and whatnot. What I'm going to be talking about is all those other decks that you're going to be playing against the budget players pretty much. Now before I talk about those four decks, the four decks that I believe are the best of the budget decks, let me just go over the new changes that I've made to the SMV. Now first off, you'll notice that there are triangles instead of arrows. Now triangles is to keep everything more laid out since the arrows were too huge, and so I just decided to change it to triangles instead. It looks more professional, whatnot, blah blah blah. And you'll notice that there's a price next to the arrows that shows you how much it has gone up or down since last week. So you'll notice that the colors are still the same. Now just a refresher, colors are blue, which indicates little to no change at all. Green is a lot of change for going up, and red is a lot of change going down. Arrows should be pretty self-explanatory, and the hyphen still means that there is no change. So now let's go to the top four budget decks to make. Now, first off, I'm going to talk with probably the most proven of the top decks, and that is Six Samurai. Six Samurais have won YCS even while they were crippled, and while some say it's due to ambiguous rulings and whatnot, but Six Samurai is actually a good deck. Like, they can control the board, they can control the field. My bad, since people get pissed off whenever other people say board, but they can control the field pretty well, and they can OTK pretty well. They have good consistency and they have lots of power. Now probably the only drawback is that everyone knows how Six Sams play. It's really easy to side for Six Sams though, and Max C pretty much already kills the deck. That was the reason why Max C was so good to begin with. But pretty much Six Samurais is still a solid deck to play, especially if you're a budget player. You just need to learn like how to tech out your deck and whatnot before you start winning those regionals and YCSs. Now, the next deck is probably Karakuri. Karakuris obviously have the same powers as Six Samurai. They can control the board, field. They can control the field, and they can OTK. The only problem with Karakuri is Maxi hurts them even more, and Solemn Warning, pretty much one Solemn Warning will kill your Synchro off, and your explosiveness just kind of ends there. That and effectively just ruins them as well. But Karakuri is still a pretty good deck. It's just number 3 in my opinion. Now for number 2 is probably Dark World. Dark World can actually play a pretty solid game. They can destroy cards off the field with their Gaffas. They can remove cards from the graveyard with their Dark Smogs. They can control the field with the consistent droppings of Gaffa. And also they can pretty much swarm the field as well, but most players don't play that. They can also control your hand. So that's what's good for going for Dark Worlds. The only bad thing about Dark World is that if you open with a inconsistent bad hand, you pretty much have to hope your opponent opened with an even worse hand, because for the most part you are going to lose that game. Dark Worlds need a great opening hand to pretty much control the field. They pretty much need either gates, they need gates in their hand for one. They need another discard outlet, as well as either a Dark World monster that will let them draw, search, or destroy, or they need the Fallen from Shallow Grave, that one spell card that they use that I forgot its name, which I feel pretty sad for forgetting its name. But if you open with those, then you are fine with Dark Worlds. If you don't, you probably need to scoop it up. Now the last deck I can talk about is Bubble Blade. Bubble Blade is probably one of the most popular choices in budget decks, and it's also one of the newer, more refined builds of elemental heroes. Now, if you don't know what Bubble Blade is, well, you're probably going to have to look it up. But pretty much Bubble Blade can hold quite a strong, they can hold their own with strong monster removal, since they pack Gemini Sparks and Super Polys all day, as well as they have a lot of strong monsters, 19s and 21s all day, as well as being able to OTK. Now, the deck is probably the newest of the decks, of all four of the decks, so it probably has the chance of winning off of you not knowing the matchup. However, it is pretty easy to stop Bubble Blade, because once you have recognized that they either don't need a hand to where they set everything, or that you can stop their plays over their swarms, then you pretty much should be good, because the deck can drop tons of beaters on a rapid pace, just like elemental heroes. Bubble Blade probably drops beaters quicker than regular elemental heroes though. So you'll probably need to pack those double Torienter tributes and just get rid of the Bubble Blade. So pretty much just a recap of the four decks that I think that are the best budget decks: Six Samurai, Dark Worlds, Karakuri, and Bubble Blade. If you disagree, or if you have another deck that you believe is good as a budget deck, feel free to comment down below. Like, rate, comment, subscribe, and this is teamknl. Check back next week for SMV, and we are out.